Hey everybody, happy Wednesday, August 2nd, I think. Hold on. Yep, August 2nd. Welcome to the show, the C-Note Audio Extravaganza. This is your host, Mr. Christian Rivera. And today, let's talk about goals. Which ones do you need? Which are a waste of time? Let's do it. Welcome to the party. I hope you're having a lovely week and a good day so far. If you're not having a good week, I'm sorry. That kind of sucks. Hopefully it's a situation where you have a lot more control than you think you do, and you can sort of turn things around. If you're dealing with something out of your control, something serious, then that's unfortunate. I'm sorry. I don't really know why you're listening to this, but if there's any way I can help you feel better, feel free to call in and let me know what's going on. I would love to chat and see what I can do. But if you're just kind of complaining about work or feeling like you can't get out of a certain spot, or they're not letting you do the work that you want to do, understand that those are things that you can kind of fight back on. Like I said in a previous episode, you shouldn't have any fear. I think a lot of people just kind of give in for fear of being fired or fear of judgment or all these kind of made up fears that they put in their head of how someone might react to something. And you should, again, continue with respect, but also stand up for yourself. I mean, for lack of a better way to put it, don't be a wuss about it. Stand your ground and be confident about your expertise. If it's something that you're very good at and you feel like you're not getting the creative freedom, then you need to make that known. Otherwise, put the ball in your court. Let it be known that this is the way that, I would appreciate if we can try some things. Instead of just kind of giving in and doing work that feels like a grind, that actually feels like work. That's not fun. It's not enjoyable. Nobody likes that. So you should really fight for that. Anyway, just a quick programming note. I guess programming note means branding update from me. Yesterday I put up a quick landing page for my Swing for the Fences for my music stuff. So swingforthefences.pagedemo.co at the moment. I don't have a short URL, so sorry about that. But if you want to go check it out, it's a very simple landing page. And there's a link at the bottom of that page if you would like to find out more about how you can get your own landing page. I'd love to help you make one. Or you can email me, or rather reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter at RivalMyDesign. Feel free to just direct message me and ask me about it. I'd love to help you out. So that's what's going on there, and with that, let's talk about our topic for today. So today I wanted to talk about goals. Should you set them? Should you set them? Should you set them? Shit, that's not a word. Should you set your goals? What kind of goals? And is it appropriate to just do them continuously? I don't know. Let's talk through it. I kind of just thought about talking about this morning, so we're going to wing it. I was thinking about the fact that one of my friends' coworkers, I should say, is nominated for an Emmy, which is cool. It's for a show, like a weekend show. It's called Weekend Filler. It's for a TV station I used to work for, PHL 17, back in Philly. It's like kind of like a variety segment show that's a lot of fun, and you could tell that the team's having a good time doing it. It's something I wish that we had done when I was working there, but I didn't speak up enough, and I don't know, I guess the time wasn't right. And now they have kind of like the creative chops and the creative freedom to pull it together. So now one of those people is being nominated for an Emmy, which is cool. I didn't see which category. I haven't read that yet. But that's pretty dope. And for me, winning an Emmy is kind of one of my top tier goals in life. Like that would be rad. It's not something that I would feel like I would win or lose if I didn't get it, because I think that it's kind of an arbitrary goal. I think there are so many variables that you have to wade through that maybe aren't necessarily will fit into the talent and hard work category. So I mean, you can't change your perspective on your work based on whether or not you win something like that. That's such a big deal. But for me, I would absolutely love to have one. That's like a total materialistic, bragging rights kind of goal that I really, really want in life. And I still feel like I'm far away from that, but that's something I really would like. So I think it's important to have like that sort of long-term, sort of nice to have goal. Something, whether it's winning an award or, I don't know, eventually buying a house or eventually buying something. Some sort of like victory, some sort of trophy, as it were. I think it's important to make sure that you know that you don't need that, which is why I want to stress that it's like a nice to have goal. Something to strive towards, something that will help you improve your quality as you go along, so you can get a little bit closer to that goal, or at least improve your chances of getting that. Because that would feel pretty amazing to actually finally get to that point. I would love it, and I'm going to keep striving towards it. And then other goals, day-to-day stuff. You should be thinking about what the next thing is pretty much all the time. I'm not the best at celebrating things because I do so many things, so many little things all the time, that I just kind of like accept the dopamine victory and then kind of think about what the next thing is. I immediately go into this state of like, oh God, what's next? Like at work, we're finishing this commercial, and as people kind of come up to you at different stages of your career, and you finish something, and they're like, all right, don't get too comfortable. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm already, like, I've been thinking about the next thing for like 2 weeks now. I don't know where you guys are, but I'm always trying to think of what the next thing is. So when it comes to day-to-day goals, it's like just kind of be aware of them. You don't necessarily have to be blocked by them if you're focusing on one thing at a time, if you're that kind of person, which I think more and more I'm becoming that kind of person. I feel like I put more energy into something when I focus one thing at a time, and it just gets better. But, in the back of your mind, sort of think about putting the pieces together for the next thing that's coming along, so that when it's time to sit down and do it, you can focus on the content, or you can focus on the actual grind of what needs to be done instead of starting from zero. So that's one way to think about goals. And next I want to talk about breaking apart the major goals, big projects, things like that. If you've been dying to start that podcast about doves, or about your favorite jacket, or about a long-lost love, or a murder mystery about a cat who murdered everybody, you can start it now on Spotify for podcasters. I've been on Anchor for a long time, and now it is officially Spotify for podcasters, and it has been a platform that has been growing for forever. And I love it, and I still use it to this day, and it has hosted this podcast for 500 plus episodes now. So I highly recommend it. It is free to use. Spotify for podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. I'm literally on my bed recording on my, the phone is on the bed, and I'm just talking, and it's not that complicated. And then you can distribute your podcast on Spotify and everywhere else that podcasts are heard. So video podcasts are available too if you want to show your pretty face and have people see you. And you can do all that too. So just do it. It's totally free, no catch. Give it a try. Spotify for podcasters. Let's go. So I know probably more than anyone that it gets very overwhelming to think about big projects and what it means and how you can get through it. It depends on the structure. If you're working with other people, if you're working as a team, you might have to define those things up front to make sure that you're define the steps to get to the end goal as a team, to make sure that you're staying on the path, and make sure that you have one leader that is making sure that everyone is staying on track. An experienced person, someone who's basically guiding the quality and the time, a project manager of sorts, or a producer, and making sure that no one's veering too far off course. Especially, you get situations where you review a piece of the project, you get to a later stage where you're almost done and there are a couple of little changes, and then somebody gets the brief and they start changing everything, and you might have to reel them back in and get them focused again. So I think it's important to make sure that we maintain goals, hold each other accountable at each stage of reaching the big goal. And even if you're working on your own, to sort of define the little steps so you're getting a lot of little wins along the way. It's really not just about hitting the pieces, but making sure that you're setting yourself up for little victories to allow yourself the motivation to keep going, to keep finishing it. That's probably one of the biggest things for me, because it can get very discouraging if you're spending a long time on a part of a project and you're not seeing any payoff. I think it's great to learn how to grind through those negative times, those times where you're not able to figure something out and you're not able to work through it. But I think at the beginning of the project, make sure you're just giving yourself realistic goals. I mean, if you can't hit something, if you can't hit a timeline, then don't be so strict about it. Unless it's a life or death thing, most of the time you've got a little bit of wiggle room, and it's okay. I very much push myself to be very self-aware of how I'm feeling and how focused I am. If I'm having a day where I'm feeling like a creative mess, like I'm not getting anywhere, I can't do anything, then I know that if I'm pushing through and if I try to produce something, it's not going to be good. So I might go into it with the notion that all right, this is not going to be good. I'm just going to put together a draft so that something is done, and then I know the next day, hopefully if I'm feeling better, I can adjust it and make it better. Or maybe that's a day where you're leaning on someone a little bit more. Maybe you're asking more questions of somebody else who is also an experienced person in that field or knows the project well and can help guide you in a direction when you just seem to be not making the right decisions yourself. That's one way to approach it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't have so much pride that you feel like you need to grind through and push through and sit there for hours and hours and hours and get it done. Your quality of work is not predicated on the amount of hours you spent. It's what you do with the hours you're focused. That's important. That's how I feel. I mean, most of the time, I wish I could just work 4 hours a day, because if it were me and I was left to my own devices and I had all of the resources that I had, I would probably work constantly, but I would likely pack my time into a few hour chunks, because that's when I feel like I'm focused. And then I like to be able to recharge, whether that's talk to people about projects or sort of work things out. You kind of need to pull away in order to allow your brain to absorb new information and have new bits of inspiration to work with. If you're just sitting there and grinding and being stuck in your own head and not asking questions, you're not going to get any closer to your goals than you were yesterday. So allow yourself to kind of get over yourself in a way, and work with your team or work with other creatives or professionals to help you get to the next step if you're stuck on one of the steps, because big projects are hard. for me, I really love the idea of having that big lofty goal. I just love the idea of shooting for the stars and pushing yourself to get to the next thing and trying something different. I think it's important to have daily goals, to have weekly goals, and really lifetime goals, yearly and then lifetime goals. Things that you would like to achieve. I think it's important to distinct the two, to make sure that you're separating what is currently achievable versus what would be rad to do, and sort of prepare yourself to like not be upset if you can't reach those for some reason, or your life changes and it just doesn't fit that mold anymore. Things are going to adjust. You should be revisiting your goals lists, whether that's physically written down or in your head, frequently, because you never know how life's going to change. You could have a kid when you don't expect it. You could have a parent pass away, and that could completely change your mindset. That could change the types of goals you go for. You could get married, and that could also change your mindset. Get a different job. You could start a business that was completely different from what your original goals were. You never know. So I think what's more important is have goals, but also be malleable. Understand that things are going to shift. Things might change, and you never know. For me, I like to take down goals on different cloud services. So I use like Google Keep or Evernote, or even write things down sometimes. And I kind of write them down and then just sort of forget them. Not really forget them, but like if they're at the forefront of my brain as I'm going throughout my day, then I will take steps to get those done. And I rarely look at them again until I go to write another list, and then I realize that I accomplished a lot of things. Like, that's pretty cool. So I would say to always kind of keep them in your head, and think about what you want to accomplish day to day, and don't put so much pressure on yourself. Be realistic. I mean, we're humans. I often try to bite off more than I can chew. I put way too much on my plate. I currently have like 7 brands, some of which that are not doing anything because I can't focus on them. So, like, that's not good. That doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help me. So I don't know. Find a focus, and be realistic about your goals and what you'd like to do. You can't wake up one morning and say you're going to do like 12 things when it's not realistic that you can get across town to do the other thing. Just be a little bit forgiving of yourself, and realize you can likely push the thing to the next day. Or if it's something that you're working with a person on, you can talk to the person and try to work out an alternate solution instead of assuming that they'll be upset or just not speaking to them, which will make it worse. And then when you get there, they're upset that you didn't communicate with them. So that's one way to approach it. So I'd say, kind of to wrap things up, when it comes to your goals, give yourself, I know I've been a bit verbose here, and I'm always verbose a bit, so I apologize. Maybe you like that sort of thing. I don't know. Maybe you want me to drill it into your head a little bit more. Let me know what approach you like. If you want me to be a little bit more aggressive, I can definitely do that and tell you to stop fucking off. But when it comes to your goals, I think you should be realistic with yourself. I mean, be ambitious, be lofty, but also allow yourself the wiggle room to not be hard on yourself, to not punish yourself if you can't make those goals, and realize that you've got another shot tomorrow. Especially if you're a young kid, you got so much time. I'm 31 years old and I still feel super young, and I feel like I've got a lot of time. When I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I used to think I would die when I was 30, and therefore I would always focus on business stuff, or I'd always focus on just getting as much out of life as possible, which is a good thing in one sense, but in the other, it sort of robbed me of trying more things. And you've got a lot of time, so don't put so much pressure on yourself to get it right the first time. Try things, get dirty, get messy, and have fun. So thanks for listening to this latest episode of the C Note audio experience. I hope you will take the time to set some goals and make sure that you're sticking to them, but also not being harsh on yourself. Have that big lofty goal and kind of head towards it. Just do what you can to get yourself in position to get to that point. Remember that day to day, try to be as efficient and quickly moving as you can, but understand that in the long term, you should be practicing more patience and making, chipping away at things and realizing that you're not going to get to that point tomorrow, that it's going to take some time, and you really have to work towards it every single day. Work towards those goals that you really want to achieve. So just think about those things. Focus on the day-to-day, make little strides every day to get towards that big thing, and just keep grinding, keep moving, keep getting it done, and get those little wins. Feel good about what you're doing. So I hope you can take that advice and run with it, and have a good time, have a better day. Again, don't be harsh on yourself. Enjoy what you're doing. Celebrate those little wins, and which I need to get better at, and have yourself a wonderful day. Quick question that I would like anyone who's listening to call in. If you're listening to the experience on Anchor.fm, if you don't have the app, you should download it. It's pretty rad. It's basically radio versus podcasting, so you can add music and things like that. I haven't added music to these last few episodes. As a test, I want to see if I get a better response without music in between tracks, and it's more efficient for me, so I don't have to take the time to pick the music and all that stuff. So that's me giving that a go. The question of the day: I would like to know what your big lofty goal is. What is the thing that you would really, really love to have in 10 years, 20 years? Whether it's a physical thing or a place in life or a mental state, whatever it is, what is the goal you would like to get to? I would love to hear that. So give me a call in or email me. I don't want emails. Message me on Twitter or Instagram at RivalMyDesign, and we can chat about it there. Go to HowMyNameIsChristian.com to sign up for my newsletter, all that fun stuff. And if you're listening to the podcast version, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe and share and talk about this topic. I would love to get your feedback and have that discussion on Twitter or wherever. So, Rival My Design on all the social channels, and then you can follow my photo and video stuff at Future Boy Media. I'd appreciate it if you give it a like and subscribe and follow and share and all those good internet things. And I will listen to you next time. Thanks for listening to the C Note audio experience.